Hey guys, what's up? Got another one for you today. It's Tucker Carlson is speaking to Andrew Tate, the most banned man in the universe, reacting to it. Let's see what they both have to say about the situation.
But also his ability, until a couple months ago, we'd never heard of him. And then the other day, virtually every tech company on the planet banned him. Not just his presence, but also his ability to conduct business on the internet. He was taken off Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all of it. Then they started telling you that not only was he not allowed to talk, but that you weren't allowed to like him because he was an incredibly bad person. And our view on that always is we'll decide for ourselves, since we're adults and Americans, and we'll listen to anyone we want, and we'll come to any conclusion we care to come to.
I don't really feel like I've exposed anything. Like, I'm truly not a very political person. This is the first time someone has experienced this level of ban. I'm not particularly right-wing. I don't vote. I mean, I obviously have my own personal views, but they didn't ban me for that. They banned me simply because I had large swaths of the population.
They banned him because he was motivating boys in a different direction. So anything related to masculinity is bad, officially.
Agree.
Unless you're going to war to fight for the country for their moral points.
To very traditional masculine values, teenage men and young men, 22, 23, 24, were looking up to me and aspiring to be like me. I have a very traditionally masculine life. I have fast cars and a big house and a lot of money and a beautiful girlfriend.
This was always normal. I don't know why it's so bad.
And they thought this was very, very threatening. And for some reason, they decided that it's better if they annihilate me from the internet and replace me with somebody who's more aligned with whatever they're trying to purport.
Tell us what your message is to young men.
Yeah, so I think that being a man is very, very difficult. I think that men's issues are largely overlooked. The people in charge of the world pretend to care, but when somebody who's championing men's issues like myself comes forward and finally manages to garner huge percentiles of the public support, I'm silenced. So they're not really interested in men's issues. And there's a lot of young men growing up today that feel very disaffected. They feel invisible. The agendas that are being forced down their throats are not agendas they align with.
Yeah. And what's even more weird is that it's quite clear men want a type of a guidance, but the current guidance ain't working. So these people, they have no idea how they have to move forward, but you still want them to do the traditional work that women don't want to do. Women want the traditional man's work, like a web designer maybe. HR, that's more maybe a woman thing. Nurses, I get that. But there are way more physical jobs that only men can do. We're not advocating for a woman to do that, but for a man to do that situation, you cannot be like, I broke my nail. You have to be way more masculine than most. These people that do these hard jobs, they're way more masculine than me. They can't be like, that hurt me. What did you call me? How did you look? They don't have time for that. You want to delete everything. Literally right now, it's a crime to be an incel. Somebody that finds it very hard to find a mate. That's bad. So if somebody is giving you an idea not to get this woman, not to run after this woman, just become a different person that might attract them, that's bad.
Or they feel affinity to, or agendas they want. And I basically just say to men, look, it's a very hard life. You're going to need to get up, work hard, go to the gym. Strong body is a strong mind. You're going to have to reject listening blindly to everything you're told. Reject the slave mind. Think for yourself. Get a strong network of brothers. Work aside them. Don't tolerate low quality people in your life.
People that are smoking, drinking, doing crazy. It's my time to enjoy life. These people are fun. And some of them can work with that situation. But the vast majority that do that leave that situation with an addiction, even schools or whatever, and they have no purpose. I respect people that want to do their own thing. But when you cannot do something because you like to smoke or drink, or those things help you forget the problem you have in your life, I kind of look weird in your direction, but I'm not allowed to say anything because, hey, let's celebrate depression. I'm like, why? I understand it's happening, but I don't want to talk about it 24/7 or do something so I forget.
Which means don't tolerate men who just smoke drugs and play video games, or men who are disloyal or dishonest. By extension, don't tolerate women or girlfriends who are disloyal or dishonest.
True.
And try and build and create a reality full of high-quality people in which you can resist the programming that the Matrix tries to influence you with and grow up truly happy. And what happens is when I say these things, they ignore 95% of what I say. They ignore me saying that you need to avoid low-quality men. And they take the bit where I say avoid women who are dishonest. And then they put it on a reel, a very short 3 or 4 second clip.
Yeah.
And they say I'm a misogynistic person and I'm dangerous to women and I need to be banned. The problem is that the majority of young men in the world today are completely invisible. And social media has made them invisible. If you go into an Instagram feed, you have extremely beautiful women, which is fine. They're beautiful. They're allowed to take pictures. But the only men who have followers are men with massive social status, right?
Or YouTubers.
Men with Ferraris and money, or rappers, or people who have YouTube channels, interesting people. If you're a normal man with a normal job, you don't really exist in the online world. It's very difficult to get followers. Nobody replies to your DMs. You don't really matter. You don't have access to the sexual marketplace. It's very difficult for you to even get any kind of recognition that you're even alive. And a lot of men feel lost and lonely because of that. And I was championing to a degree their issues by saying...
No, me too, in a way that 70% of the men are lonely, right? When I call this out, everybody's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't follow Andrew Tate. I'm like, what else should we do? I don't know. There's a lot of men out there. I'm like, whoa. They're not talking about these things. They're not saying that, oh yeah, go to the gym, you're just better. Yes, but there's more to that. Find a job, be focused. Consistently do something until you get better and better, improve. Leave all these stupid people behind and find people that can motivate you to do something in a different way. You don't have to work as a slave to be rich, but find a purpose, and if you don't like it, you keep bouncing until you find something. That is what they teach you. Even if you don't like the way how he talked in a few reels about women, the rest that he's teaching is way better, even the depression part, because he is right. I'm not saying that you can't be sad. You're a person that's depressed, but you're not a depressed person. You're not the identity. And I think that's key, because that's how I was saved by when they told me nobody cares. They will never care. You're a man. Go do something with your life, which I did. But when I tell people right now how I did it, they're like, okay, yeah, but not everybody has that energy. Who cares? I can't care about everybody that don't have the energy. Who cared about me when I lost my eye? Who cared about me when I lost my mom? Who cared about me when I couldn't visit my father in Curacao when I was locked here because of that stupid COVID? Everybody has issues. That doesn't mean I need people to solve it. That's life. I need to go forward. I need to have a purpose for my kids.
Saying to them, look, that is unfair perhaps, but that's the way the game works.
Mm-hmm.
You need to become a man of importance. You need to become a man of influence, or you're going to suffer the pain of being invisible forever. Here is how you do it. I wasn't trying to change the rules of the game. I was just telling the men how to win, because I came from nothing and I'm completely and utterly self-made. And I think the reason a lot of men are so depressed is because they feel invisible. They feel like the life is too hard. Women expect me to be strong and smart and funny and interesting with a nice apartment and a fast car and tall and well-connected and funny. And it's just too much for them to handle. And the social pressure on men is absolutely immense.
We were talking about incel stuff one time with a few friends. They told me, as an incel, you shouldn't go talk to women if you don't know how to talk to women. And I'm like, how do they learn how to talk to women then? They need to practice. It's awkward. This is gonna happen. Especially when you like a woman. Even the most alpha people are awkward. It's normal. They're like, yeah, but they need to learn. How can they learn if they don't practice? You're like the person that, hey, when you finish studying, I want you to come here with experience. Hey, you want to have this sex job? I want you to be a virgin. I'm like, how can I have a sex job that I'm experienced, but I have to be a virgin at the same time? That's like giving me a knife backwards and be like, hey, don't cut yourself. But you are going to fight. Grab it quick.
And I was championing their issues. And at the same time, all these social media platforms pretend to care. As soon as somebody they resonate with stands up and champions their issues, they mass blanket ban me.
Yep.
Which shows they have absolutely no care for the young men of the world today. They think that by banning me, I'm just going to vanish and the young men are just going to go and start eating the gruel that they're fed on their YouTube feed.
They're gonna rage more, and the fact that you don't control this space, somebody that is talking online, they're going to this dark side where the people with the loudest voice that usually go hang out in specific red pill community or on Reddit, and those are gangster. Usually all these people that end up shooting, blah, 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 they went to some weird place because if any shooter met Andrew Tate and his message, there's a big chance he would not do that. But nobody wants to see that. No. We need to silence everybody. We have a champion. Oh, silence him. This one too. Well, if nobody can talk, they're going to talk louder. Silence him. Hey, man, that's going. Silence him. Your only solution is silence. Well, thank you, Tucker Carlson. You gangsta.
They don't want to read. They don't want to see transgender people wear makeup. They don't want to see that. They want to see a man who has a bunch of money and a nice life and some fast cars and is strong and is confident. They want an action hero. And that's something that large portions of the world still want to be. And YouTube and social media platforms obviously just don't like the idea of that. They want to get rid of me and try and replace me with something they see as far more malleable, trying to create people which are more malleable and more easy to program and more easy to control.
So news accounts in the United States say that the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest, Romania, was tipped off to your misdeeds and alerted the local authorities you might be committing human trafficking. Given that this is the same charge they leveled against Julian Assange or a species of it, skeptical, but I want to know the details. Were you arrested for human trafficking? What happened?
Yeah, I was not arrested. So what happened is I suffered from a case of swatting. It's very popular with people who are large on the internet. Many large YouTubers have been swatted. It's where you call the police and you say somebody has a gun or there's a hostage situation and the SWAT team arrives. Somebody made a phone call to the American Embassy saying that I was holding women at my house. The police arrived. And let me state this now. I state this openly to the world. I have absolute respect for the police. I would hate to live in a country where if you call the police saying women are being held against their will, that the police don't respond. That would be terrible. Of course they should come and look. Absolutely. They turned up. They investigated. They realized that nobody was in the house against their will. There was no crime committed. They said, okay, you're not a suspect, but you are a witness to this, along with me, my brother, the housekeeper, the gardener. Everybody who was in the premises at the time was labeled a witness. We had to go to the police station for 45 minutes for pieces of paper. We filled them in and we were let go. I was swatted. Nobody was hurt. There's no human trafficking. There's no women who were tied up. There's none of these things. It's all just complete fallacy.
You probably made...
I find it rather weird that the amount of people that are using this human trafficking right now just to get views on YouTube and they believe anything just to be right, it doesn't make any sense, especially when the girls that are with him, they actually said it was a joke. It was a joke. And this girl that they said was chilling, not even with him, with the brother of him. It was literally the boyfriend saw his girlfriend on something of his and he was like, what? My woman is there? I'm gonna call the American Embassy. And I'm like, dude, how jealous can you be?
Some of these companies mad with your views on COVID. So sum up for us, if you would, what you think the response to COVID globally did to the populations of the West.
Look at them smile.
Yeah, so I certainly made them mad with my views on COVID. I don't want to go to conspiracy theory, and I would also never kill myself. Let me just say that here for the record. But
Okay.
at the time of COVID first being announced, my brother and I decided we sat and had a very logical conversation, and we sat and said, we're two young fighting age males. If COVID can kill us, then the world is over. It's zombie apocalypse time. So there's no point hiding. We may as well go out with a bang. So my brother and I flew to Stockholm, Sweden. Now, I don't know if many people know this, but Sweden never closed down. Stockholm and Sweden never closed down, never made you wear masks, never mandated the vaccine. At the very beginning of COVID, when the rules were strictest, when Florida was still closed, when Miami was still closed, when the Republican states were still closed, Stockholm, Sweden was wide open with full nightclubs and a party scene like you've never seen. And we lived in Sweden for 3 solid months with zero restrictions, zero worry or interest in COVID. It was like the world was completely normal. And from there, when we left, obviously COVID was still going on. And in a neighboring country, you go to Germany, and they were having full panic attacks, genuine panic attacks if you didn't have a mask on. And it was just very obvious to me. I was like, I've spent the last 3 months ignoring this and I'm fine. And now I'm in Germany surrounded by panic attacks and endless masks. This doesn't make sense.
Do you know how many kids are actually messed up right now because of this? Surprising amount. Everybody has anxiety and everything. I'm like, damn, man. A lot of small business have closed. This whole pandemic destroyed a lot of people's lives, destroyed their savings, and everybody's gonna, well, we had good intention. Wait, I'm like, just like, yo, man, you have so many good intentions. I'm not gonna talk about that anymore because YouTube is already having fun by torturing me with these things. And I'm like, dude, I don't have time for that. Okay, you know what I would say? It doesn't make any sense. They said this is what you need, and then whoop. Well, no, now we know you didn't really need it that way because it's like, okay, I know you're trying your intentions are good, but you seem to be always wrong.
And I told the truth on social media. I said, this is obviously an overreaction, the decimation of your income.
Yep.
The fact you can't go get a doctor's appointment for a genuine ailment or a genuine risk of cancer, for example.
Everything has to be through Zoom. I got therapy right now through Zoom. Physiotherapy through Zoom.
The fact that you can't see your loved ones in their final days, these things.
I couldn't see my father. I couldn't go. If I land on another country, my own country, to meet my father, they said, we will lock you in this hotel for 14 days just in case, but you also have to pay the hotel bill. I'm like, I don't want to go to my island when my father has a house. No, you might have this. I couldn't even say goodbye.
Are far more destructive than the common cold. I think that what they're doing is unfair. I think it's a massive overreaction. And this is based on my personal experience. And I think at the time there was a lot of pushback, but I would like to think now that 99% of the world see I was totally right. You know, it's kind of funny, Tucker. I'll tell you, when at the height of COVID, I used to say to my brother, how will people struggle with the cognitive dissonance when this is all over? Because COVID is still out there. Nothing's gone away. The thing that we were all hiding from is still right there, out there to get you.
Yeah.
And now everyone walks around and they're not scared of it anymore. And I'm like, are people critical enough to analyze themselves?
If only people could see COVID just like masculinity. Oh my God, masculinity. And then suddenly, hey man, we didn't really need the mask.
Say, for a year of my life, I was deathly afraid of something. Now I'm exposing myself to said thing and I'm not afraid anymore. The media tricked me and I was a fool. But they're not. They don't even seem to self-analyze and go.
They don't feel stupid because there's enough people that think like them. You will only feel stupid when you're the only one thinking like that or in the minority. That's the only way. Unless you're LGBTQ, the only minority that has way more voice than you.
I got tricked. They're just like, oh, okay, next thing. Hey, Andrew now. Like robots. It's mind-bending.
NPC.
So I saw you compare the experience of rich people under COVID, you're one of them, to everybody else. What did you notice about that? It seemed like a two-tiered response.
COVID is afraid of money. That's what I see.
Yeah, so the story was very simple. I was flying inside of Europe. There's a lot of low-cost air carriers. It's only low-cost primarily. There's not much first class, business class, anything like that. And I was flying, and my experience was plagued by endless paperwork, wearing a mask, put the mask over your nose. Every time you eat, you have to put the mask on in between. I got told off for not having the mask up high enough. I got told off for drinking too long.
Or just have the mask and you put it right below your nose and it's cool. You can just walk. They would say nothing.
Because my mask wasn't on, pure panic and chaos. And because I'm fortunate enough to be fiscally secure, from there I decided I'll just buy private jets from now on. And when I bought a private jet, there was no masks, no paperwork. No mask at the airport when I landed. My air stewardess was not wearing a mask. My pilot was not wearing a mask. COVID didn't exist once I bought a private jet. Very interesting. Maybe if you're rich enough, maybe COVID's scared of money. I'm not sure. But it seems that everyone who's flying on private jets never had to worry about COVID ever. It's just the people at the bottom who had to worry about COVID. And it's kind of interesting, right? Life's always been two-tiered. There's always been this separation in regards to fiscal access. But I think a lot of people in the world today don't realize that it still very much exists. And a lot of the rules are only the rules for a certain class of people. And once you pass a certain wealth index or a certain level of money, that you can do basically whatever you want. And COVID really highlighted that to me. And it's truly sad. I mean, it's easy for me to make a joke of it, but when I would fly on a private jet and do whatever I wanted, or go to Sweden and party in nightclubs and do whatever I wanted, and then I'd come to, let's say, England and see my friend who couldn't go see his dying grandmother because of a COVID restriction, that's truly sad. That's truly criminal. It's really crazy what's happened and how the world's just moved on, and the cognitive dissonance that people don't have enough respect for themselves and for the truth to analyze how they were so easily fooled. It's really sad to even think about, but maybe that was the beginning of me being disliked by just pointing out my human experiences during the...
Yeah, you were actually the only person that was quite loud, and people thought you made sense. And then I think that is the main, because I heard of him before. I didn't really like him, how he talked about women, but I wasn't sure if he was being hyperbolic, acting up. I didn't know that. But when I realized that he was against certain things that like the system and everything, when I realized he made this money, and when I realized he was also like a 4-time kickboxing champion, so he knows what he's doing. So maybe this dude he makes more sense. So I did a deep dive, and that is the moment I realized, hey, maybe I can learn something from this guy. I followed his business steps, and that's why I decided to buy a house during COVID, because he was saying, just like the supposed rich bad people, whenever there's a crisis, there's a big opportunity. And my opportunity was buy everything that was cheap, that nobody wanted to buy because of COVID. And I bought a big house.
But I want to tell you something that's actually kind of scary about this banning. It all came so hard and so fast that I don't know if they all just follow each other. I don't know if they're all influenced by each other. I don't know if there's someone above them all.
They're connected.
I don't know. But when they go to cancel you, ladies and gentlemen, it comes hard and fast. You lose your Facebook, then your Instagram, then your Gmail, then your Discord, then your website hosting, then your domain name, then your payment processor, then your bank. Then it's just like in real time, you're watching your phone and apps just exploding. Boom, boom, boom. It's crazy.
Yeah, if you think about it, we are not seeing what is happening to his phone, but it would be quite scary. Now imagine if you don't have his money. At least he has a way to move his money, lawyers, and if I say the wrong thing, I know I'm done. 100%. It's scary. And the fact that people think that's good, just because somebody is pushing men to be better, to have a purpose, that's like evil in my eye. Well, I think you guys have a gist what the heck is happening. I think this was a good interview with Tucker Carlson. Let me know what you think. I already know what I'm gonna think. But hey, that's life, right? We just have to do it or make the best out of it. And all I know is he is not the bad guy that we see, but he is a threat to the current system that wants to stay in power. They don't want men to be dependent on themselves. That is what I see. Because all the revolution against the government are usually with men that says, yo man, I don't agree with this and you're not gonna force me. If you tried this 100 years ago, we know everybody would be on the street screaming. But right now, we don't do that. We don't do that anymore. The government served the people. But now they're in a position, it's just like, I feel like a liberal telling me how I should feel, because if I want freedom of speech, I should think I'm giving freedom of speech to the KKK. It's like, of course I know that. But still, I want to have my opinion. If he thinks I'm an idiot, cool. I want to know him. I want to see him. But who are you to tell me that I cannot give him the power when you're the one removing my power when you can have that power? That means you're the legal KKK. or am I that stupid? I don't think so. I think people are waking up. And I'm glad that Andrew Tate left that stamp, even if you're banning him everywhere. Because people need to wake up that we have way more control over our life. And if we keep depending on the government, we're just going to get more depression. Just like the pandemic. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. And up to the next video. Peace. Like, share, everything. Yeah.